UFC lightweight prospect Joe Solecki. What's going on, Joe? How's life right now during these uncertain times?
Life's good, man. I can't complain. I'm just coming from the gym. That's why I'm in the car. Sorry about how dark it is, but yeah, life's good. I'm on the go, man. Getting ready for the fight next weekend. But man, I really am just grateful for the opportunity to work right now. I mean, a lot of uncertainty in the world, like you said, and who can complain when you get a chance to go back to work?
Definitely. Now, one thing's for certain is that you have a child on the way. First of all, congratulations. And how has that been during, the pandemic and with the virus going around and all that? It must be a big concern.
Yeah, I'm super excited. First of all, like we are so pumped. Something we've been wanting for a long, long time, and just really, really blessed that it's all happening now. But yeah, like you said, with the pandemic and everything, now we're lucky. We're where we are in North Carolina is kind of a coastal city, and our case numbers are real low. Our deaths were below like 10 last I saw. So we're very lucky. So I was able to go to the appointments and stuff. So not bad. If anything, it was a little more time at home with my wife because restaurants were closed. That's what she works in. And I was just training and then spending time at home. So honestly, almost a little blessing in disguise. It's not a good thing, obviously, but for us to spend time together in between training and just spend that time together before the baby comes. So it was actually really nice. I'm usually on the go like crazy when I'm training, and all my camp here has pretty much been in Wilmington with a little bit of Myrtle Beach, only 90 minutes away. So it's been nice, actually.
All right. Well, before we get into the training and everything, I want to go back to your UFC debut late last year. Very successful against a gritty veteran. Do you feel like you fulfilled the game plan that you had in place to defeat Matt Wyman?
Yeah, I think so. It was, I mean, we kind of talked about it beforehand. I knew it was going to be a grind. We knew it was probably going to be ugly. And I really didn't think there'd be many spots to finish him. But I almost did get a finish in the first round there, but he was so tough. So we planned for all of that. It was nerve-wracking knowing that I'm going to have to dig deep and go to deep water with a veteran. But, yeah, it all kind of played out exactly like we trained for. But I think best case scenario, there wasn't a ton of adversity more than him just staying in there and staying tough. So, yeah, very lucky. There's definitely a lot of things I could have changed, could have fixed, but that's every single performance ever. So just going to take the bad and improve on it. But all in all, if I can get a win and have stuff to learn from like that, that's a good day.
When you look back at that performance and you see certain spots, certain moments, do you feel like there were any moments that you could have you could have zagged instead of zigged and got a finish?
I didn't see any. I love to hop on submissions, and I like to let the ground and pound go on the floor. But I think maybe if I would have settled in a little lower on his hips when I had him, when Fernando Yamasaki was getting ready to kind of step in, he said, "Fight back, fight back." That was he told us that that day, if he says it twice, he's stopping it next. And he just bridged in hard enough to give his back up. And I think if I would have been a little lower, I could have hipped it and maybe put him away. But, that's a tough guy. That's a guy that's been in a lot of positions with a lot of world-class athletes on top of him. So, can't really get hung up on it, and just happy I got the win.
Well, I guess that you could take that into your future fights now. If you are in that position and in that same situation, that little tweak that you can make will get you that finish, and you don't even have to fight, and go to the judges.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is, if I can learn from a win, like everybody says, you learn more from your losses. I've learned from my losses a ton, but I like to learn from my wins, because if you watch it back, you can be critical and pick out little things like that where most people will be like, "Oh, you got to win, that's good enough." And for me, I'm always going to discount myself and find out where I've got to get better at, because it's such a crazy game. There's so many different facets. There's so much to get better at.
When you returned to the gym, did you focus on anything before you actually got into a training camp?
Yeah, I just focused on, as dumb as it sounds, my fundamentals. So in jiu-jitsu, in wrestling, and in my stand-up, which is just everywhere, on the ground, on the feet, staying in structure, staying compact, and being ready to defend and then attack. Too many times we get caught up in I'm either attacking or I'm defending, or I'm defending but I'm out of position to attack back, and just staying in good structure, having good fundamentals, and we're seeing it. Somebody that comes to mind is like Gilbert Burns, like last fight, or Gaethje. Phenomenal fundamentals wins world titles. So that's what I got to get better at, the fundamentals, and just being so fundamentally sound that I can do it when I'm hurt, tired, in my sleep, doesn't matter.
Right now, you mentioned Gilbert Burns. He seems like he's laying out the blueprint for all the fighters. It's just take every fight and win.
Yeah,
That's the simple plan that you should have. It'll get you to the
that's it.
title.
Yeah, 100%. Especially during this time, like you said, if you got a chance to get work, we got to take it, And absolutely, nobody's done it better than him.
It's incredible what he has accomplished in the last year, because it almost seemed like he was headed towards being a journeyman in many ways, and now he's about to fight his teammate for the world championship. So
Yeah,
it's
unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, with the pandemic, when did you feel like it was hitting your area? When did you like feel like, oh man, it's gonna change something in my life right now?
Probably when we had to close gyms down, because we really weren't, like I said, it wasn't a super hot spot here. I mean, for most of the pandemic, maybe until now, I haven't been checking as much because it's kind of subsided a little bit here, luckily. We were below 100 cases in our county. We have like 150,000 people in our county. So probably because we weren't testing as much too. But like I said, there was 3 deaths from most of the pandemic. So, as terrible as that is, it wasn't what we were seeing in some of the bigger cities. So we thought maybe we'd get away with being able to stay open with the gym, with restaurants and everything. And then we closed the gym down, I think, maybe halfway through March. And that was kind of when it set in, like, oh, life's changing now. But we were able to train, us and a core group of guys, because we have to, and, with the whole essential business thing is, when it's how you feed your family, it's essential to you no matter what. So we were finding ways to get into the gym, do our training, even if we had to do double sessions instead of coming back morning and night, and then getting our strength and conditioning in. The biggest thing for us is having Hudson Rose Athletics, in addition to Salt Dog Jiu-Jitsu, which is inside of PCSP. That's where we do our MMA training. But having Hudson's, I would go in there every single day because I wasn't traveling to Gym O or to Myrtle Beach to box at first. So I was going in and getting my strength and conditioning every single day there, getting in everything I needed to do to be in top shape, and then going into the gym and doing a double session at night. Until here recently, we were back to full schedule now that, pro athletes are essential. So I did a full fight camp, man. This isn't a short notice fight for me. I got at least 10 weeks, if not a little more, of everything I needed. So I was very, very lucky to have these guys like John Salter, Hudson Rose, and all of our teammates to push me. And we kind of kept sight on, look, pandemic or not, I was told April, May, June at the latest. So I've got to be ready for April, May, or June. While it isn't the most fun thing to not know when you're fighting, but to just grind it out every day, that's what I had to do, So mentally, physically calloused, ready to go. Been working really hard for like 12 weeks. So, we're very, very lucky that we were able to get in when we could.
It's so much similar to the lead up to the Contender Series, right? It was you've known about the fight for a long time, but really didn't know too many details until you get closer and closer to the fight, right? So I guess you're used to it somewhat, and you're gonna be fighting in an empty arena.
Yeah, which is something I got to do. I know the Contender Series, you have some family and friends there, but that's almost more nerve-wracking than an empty arena, because it's not enough to where you're getting that huge adrenaline rush, but it's enough where you're like, oh crap, that's some pressure. I love the idea of an empty arena. I think it's fantastic. There is no, fans are amazing, and fans make the sport go round. That's why we get paid to fight. But at the end of the day, UFC events get wild. There's drunk people in the stands screaming and yelling, and this is really going to be about the fight. And even though we know tons of people are going to watch on TV, it almost feels like a secret mission or something. I was saying that to like my teammates. I was like, usually we go, and even if it's out of town, we go with like a little army, and this time we're like stealth roping in from a helicopter, getting to the mission and getting the heck out. It's not this big production. So I kind of like that. It's very driven, very mission focused. And, I got to leave my wife at home this time. She's been like every single fight I've had. And it really is just the core group, the coaches, myself, and we go, we work, and we're coming home. So very focused, and it's definitely an interesting dynamic for sure.
Being able to hear your corner clearly and being able to hear your opponent's corner clearly, do you think that's gonna dictate where the fight plays out more? Or because you see sometimes corners yelling out instructions and the fighter doesn't follow anything that the fighter says.
Yeah. And I think that just happens when you get tired. Sometimes you just can't pull the trigger on what they're telling you. But I think it'll be very interesting because I'm going to hear my corner, the other corner, and the commentators, which, much like the Contender Series, I'm pretty good at focusing on my corner. I always hear them no matter what. Even in DC, I heard them really clear. But it'll be nice to not have to strain through a bunch of fans and screaming and yelling to hear their instructions. It's going to be like a really hard focused sparring session where we're getting instruction, and the best man's going to win, and that's what's amazing about it is we're going to have every advantage of hearing our coaches, hearing what they want us to do, and just, following through with the game plan. So it really is the purest form of fighting.
Well, your opponent coming up, Austin Hubbard, was it difficult to get matched up? They told you that you're gonna fight, later on in the year, like you said, but was it like, did you have a problem? Like, were you matched up before this and it fell through? Because there was those fights in Jacksonville too, and it's not too far from where you're at.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky where I signed with Iridium Sports and Jason House and those guys over there, and they've been fantastic. Just very recently here, the past month, and they were doing an awesome job of keeping my name relevant. It seemed like when they would get an offer for maybe a 55er who wasn't available, they would try and interject my name to some other matchups, and it didn't come to fruition. But that made me feel all right because I knew that the UFC was going to have a plan for me to fight somebody else. They were going to come up with something of their own. And they kept saying, it's coming. We can probably use them a little later. So I had faith in them to get it done, and they did. A great matchup, a really tough opponent, but I think a really good matchup for me, especially where we're at in our careers. Both young guys, both prospects. Couldn't ask for a better fight, a better fighter to stand across the cage from, but I'm ready to do everything I can, to put him away and get the win.
Yeah, Hubbard, he's 3 fights deep into his UFC career. Looking back, watching those performances, how do you dissect it? What is your assessment of his skill set?
First and foremost, I mean, everybody's very tough, but he's very tough. He's very durable, kind of like the Wyman situation. You got to know that I'm going to have to grind for 3 hard rounds, and he's not going anywhere. If giving him the option to check out and get finished, he's not taking it. You have to put him away or, decision him. And I know that. Well-rounded. Great team, and we know that we know all of that, but I think I can edge him out in every single area. And I think the biggest thing for me is my fight IQ, right? I say it every single time, but I believe that I can find the spots where I can win, and I think that's the difference maker. I think I got really smart coaches, a great team behind me, and just that focus of knowing where I can win the fight and really finding a way. I've really done a good job of that so far, and I think it's going to be the same thing here.
You've put in a long camp. Have you been going to Jimmo for this camp, or is it something that was not available because of the pandemic?
Yeah, because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to get up there. But Jeff Jimmo has been phenomenal about overseeing, camp. So once we got the fight, especially, we've been consulting through FaceTime and talking and, just helping me structure out the peaking process, which is what he's so amazing at, is making sure we're not overworked going into the fight. We're kind of on the up. And he's been amazing. All the teammates up there checked in and just really, really helpful still. And, we were lucky. Impa Kasaganai came down right before the pandemic hit because he was supposed to fight at LFA. So we were still getting that training in together. But right now, everybody's apart. But, still having all the input of those guys, which I think is the biggest thing, is Jeff Jimmo's mind and his ability to set a template for a fight, a game plan, and still have all of that to me. And, it couldn't have worked out better where I was quarantined in Wilmington with John Salter, right? No one's going to be tougher than having to deal with him every single day, And like I was saying, I said in another interview, he's not just my coach, but he's also an active top fighter in the world. So it's best of both worlds. He can beat me up every single day and then coach me on what he's doing to me. So it was the perfect storm for me again. Everybody came through, and just really can't thank all my teammates enough because, all of our jiu-jitsu guys and just everybody filled a role. It's been fantastic. Guys, that don't do MMA maybe, that are just really good grapplers, coming in, starting on the feet, letting me throw punches, whatever I need to do. And it's been really, really awesome. And I really appreciate all those guys helping me out.
Is John also in training, like in a mini camp right now, just in case Bellator pops back up all of a sudden? Because he seems like he's at the, right there on it with the, a title fight or even the eliminator. He's somewhere around there, right?
Absolutely. John's always training, man. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever met. He trains all year long, and same thing, went through all the same cardios because we do our strength and conditioning together. So all the same conditioning and everything. And I know he said if a short notice fight pops up, he's ready for it, and I have no doubt that he'll hop on it. But I was saying also is if Mousasi can't get in the country, if that's not an option, then him and Lima could fight for the 85 title. That would be a really, really big fight when Bellator comes back. So that would be, that would be amazing. I really hope that happens. But yeah, that guy's always ready. He just trains so hard, and he's always ready to go.
Big possibility right there, Salter versus Lima. That's a big fight, right? Now with you, I know that you you don't really walk around too big, and I've heard, and we've talked about this I think in the previous interview, where you kind of keep your weight low and you diet down. You don't really cut much weight. Have you ever thought about featherweight? Maybe if you get somebody who does your diet, do you do it yourself?
Yeah, I mostly do it myself, with some input of my coaches and stuff, but I've always been really, really into all that. Even before I got into mixed martial arts, I was just doing jiu-jitsu, loved following the Dolce diet and stuff like that, and reading and researching. But I kind of just know what works for me, I feel like. But this past February, right before the pandemic hit, at the end of the month, we went out to the PI and got all the testing done. And that's actually probably not out of shape, just from the workouts we were doing with Hudson Rose, really focused on kind of not off season, but just packing on functional size, and I think I'm a true lightweight now. We did all my testing, my resting metabolic rate, and I DEXA scanned and all that. And I'm a lightweight for sure. I don't think featherweight would be possible. I think they said if I made 145, I'd be at 0% body fat. I'd have to cut the muscle to do that. And I'm not a super muscular guy. I'm lean, but I'm not some muscle bound guy. So I think I've really grown into a true lightweight. I feel good at this weight. And as soon as it was time to fight again, that weight fell right off, and I'm right back to where I always am. So I think this is going to be the most explosive I've been, the strongest I've been, and the most bang for my buck as far as strength for how big I am. So I'm pretty pumped. I really think I've grown into the weight class.
Oh, so you've put on size since your debut then?
Yeah, I was walking around heavier for sure, but just as lean as I always do. So even as heavy as I was, at the PI, they were like, "Oh, you could make weight on 3 days' notice." Well, I wouldn't want to do that, but I pride myself in that. And same thing, yeah, I think I put a little bit of size just from the really good workouts he was putting us through, but nowhere where I could really tell. I just felt thicker and a little heavier when I was training. I had a little more push behind me, So yeah, everything's been perfect. I feel like I've really grown to the weight class. I feel like I'm coming to my own, and I'm getting older. I'm getting toward my prime. I don't think I'm there yet, but I really feel like I'm maturing. So in every single area.
Yeah. A physical boost is also a mental boost, and vice versa, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, June 20th, UFC Fight Night, UFC Apex, UFC Vegas. I don't even know what it's called anymore. Austin Hubbard, Las Vegas. Thank you so much for the time, Joe, and good luck on the fight, and good luck congratulations again on the baby coming up, and yeah, man, enjoy your life and have a good performance.
Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. Hope you stay safe over there.